Hey, you guys, this is Fabio Hart. Hold on real quick. Let me do this here. Giving you guys a minute to load in. Okay, okay, you guys, okay. This video probably go pretty long. Excuse me. Yeah, I had to work on the lighting. I had my phone propped up pretty high here, so. But anyway, I wrote some notes down, you guys, because with this particular video, I'm going to take it pretty much back to the basics a little bit. What I want to do is kind of break this down, even though when I first started, I was like all over the place. I did have some sort of guideline, okay? I did not have a business plan. I don't believe it's necessary. Uh, Traditionally speaking, most people would tell you, you want to have a business plan. It's important to have one, that type of thing. Just because of the nature of our business is so simplistic, it's nothing really exaggerated. The whole idea of starting a cleaning company is nothing too out of the. It's not like a tech company, right? Where it's tons of research and you got to have certain things. Is you don't need a board of directors, right? You don't even have to have a S corp, C corp. You can just have a basic LLC, right? So this was my mindset. Okay, as you guys know, I ordered a course when I first started out, so that was a great deal of help in terms of helping me, mentally kind of get some sort of direction, right? When you don't know anything. Okay, and then YouTube was a great help, and Google was a great help for me. So once I did all my little research, right, and kind of figured out marketing a little bit, learned more about marketing, um, I had to set up myself some type of guideline. And I'm gonna tell you guys how I kind of set it up. Keep up the good work. You help motivate me and my sisters start a cleaning company. Thank you, thank you. I greatly appreciate just things. I greatly appreciate that. I really do. So what I want to do though, I want to give you guys some type of guideline. And if you're just joining me, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. I see my subscription list is going up. I really, really adore you guys. I really do. But once again, let's get back to the basics. So this was my mentality when I first started. Okay. Number one, the startup. The startup. So, I had to think what type of structure I wanted to start my business under, how I wanted to do it when I first started out. I didn't even have the money to do a LLC in the beginning. So what I did was just do a general sole proprietor. Okay. And that was within my city lines, right? You go to the like courthouse in some areas, you go to your city hall in other areas, and you set up what they call a sole proprietor. Okay, so it was just a single man business, which means I was the business and the business was me, right? So there was no difference. If I was to get sued, there was no difference between me and the business. It's basically what the sole proprietor is. Okay, you are that entity. There's no different in separation. Okay, so as things started building and I just started figuring out ways to try to advance myself. Eventually I did get the LLC, but I started out with a sole proprietor. Okay. Number two, marketing. Okay, that was my next thing. After I set up the business, I knew, okay, instantly I got to get contracts, I got to get people. So how am I going to get these people? What marketing techniques was I going to use? And based on what I did, what I seen on the internet, based on my research, a lot of the old schooler people that was doing it, and other people that was making a whole lot of money doing it. Even some of my mentors, a lot of them was telling me, pick up the phones and go door knocking. Either way, I didn't really want to do that because, to be honest, I thought that I just didn't have that in me. Growing up, I was very introverted, so I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work for me, because I know I got to talk to people. So that was my philosophy. But as I began to do it, I felt like I had no choice, right? I didn't have really no income coming in. And you guys heard my story before. I wanted to get my first account in the first 60 days. I got it in the first 90 days. So I really didn't have a choice. Okay, so Again, based on my research, I realized that, okay, I have to get the customers coming in. I'm really not internet savvy, and I'm still not to this day. Like a lot of things, for me on the internet, I'll outsource it to people that just specialize in that. Hey, how's it going, Ozzy? So I'll outsource it to people that specialize in that. Okay, so uh, number three, let me see here. Number two is my marketing. And number three was my mindset was, how am I going to maintain my clients? Okay, because the scariest thing in the world for me is getting to the first contract, and I concentrated more on how not to lose that account than I did trying to build, my business up. Because when you get that first account, that's like your firstborn baby, right? I don't have any kids, but it's the same philosophy, right? You want to kind of baby it, you want to take care of it. You don't want anybody to necessarily work in it right now because it's like, what if they fuck up, right? It took me a lot of work to do this. It's not like I bought this account. It's like it took me sweat equity. So that was my philosophy. So that's why I worked in the account for 30 to 60 days by myself, number one, so I can collect a check or two and not have to pay out to any employees. And number three, so I could just learn the mechanics of what they wanted me to do in that specific building. Okay. So that's why I tell people to work in that account. Once they get an account, work in the, let me see here. Already got your first contract. Did you get total that year? How'd you get your first, how many contracts did you get total? I'm gonna come back to that, Kevin. I promise. If I forget, remind me. But I want to keep on point here. So, maintaining my contracts is what I was really, really, kind of worried about, right? Because I wanted to grow, but I didn't want to be self-employed. I understood self-employed mean me just working the business, right? Me not only being the marketer, me not only being just doing the payroll or handling the taxes, but me being the actual worker. So I didn't want to be that. Like I didn't want to be the guy that just solicit for the business and then have to work in the business. Okay, so that's why, like I said, once again, I will work in there for 30 to 60 days, and then I would just hire somebody to do it. The scariest shit in the world, but it had to be done. Hey, what's up, Leon? Um, and then, let me see. That's smart to do the accounts yourself at first. Yep, it's very smart to do. If you guys just joining me, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Uh, so yeah, that you're right. So I did work the accounts myself. Number one, because money was a factor, right? So I didn't have money to pay out anybody. Number two, it's like a new baby for me, right? I wanted to kind of govern everything. I wanted to learn everything. Um, I even made up rules for my employee that I didn't necessarily have to make up. I would say, this part is off limit. Don't do this. Don't do that. Let me see. What's the best way to write up a contract when you never done one before? Okay, one second. I'm gonna definitely get to that. I promise I will. So I would kind of make up certain things that I didn't want them to do in the facility because, again, the people that I hired weren't like family, right? They were outside people that found me on an ad or I posted in a forum somewhere and I hired them that way, right? But because I didn't know them, I didn't like necessarily do a thorough background check because again, it took money to do that. I wasn't drug testing people in the beginning, right? So that wasn't a factor. So it was a lot of things I was letting skate because, I just didn't have the financing for a lot of this stuff, right? Or um, I wasn't knowledgeable about it, if that makes sense, right? So don't like hire fine paying in ads. Right. I never hire family. That wasn't even an option for me. So eventually, I hired in and I just happened to hit home runs early on. Now I kind of fucked up because as the money was coming in, I weren't paying out. You guys probably seen my good evening. You guys probably seen my videos, or at least a video for the first $5,000 video. I kind of fucked that up. So I had some pretty solid employees in the very, very beginning, but I got too big for my britches, so to speak. So let's move right along. Now, number four, that was number three. Number four, the thing that I was really focused on after I set up the business, after I thought about the marketing, what form of marketing I was going to do, right? Which came down to door knocking and cold calling initially. I did some mailings and things like that, sending out flyers and stuff like that. But I really concentrate on the phones and going door to door. Okay, so number three, my next thing was once the marketing picked up and once I got contracts, maintaining those contracts, how I was going to maintain those contracts. Okay. Number four was what services was I going to render? Okay. What services was I going to offer them? Okay. So here's, like I say, I wrote some notes down because I wanted to kind of systematically break this down. So you guys, if you use my approach, it'll be broken down in a set way, like where you can say A, B, C. Okay, he did this, he did that. Let me try this, let me try that. Okay, so the services initially that I said I wanted to offer was window cleaning and just general carpet cleaning, general building cleaning, or just commercial cleaning. I'm sorry, general commercial cleaning. Okay, so window cleaning and general commercial cleaning was my first two services that I was offering. I was more on the commercial cleaning side because I knew that that would be the bread and butter. And I was using window cleaning more of an upsell, as something that I could charge extra for, I can offer as another service. If you're just joining me, I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe. It takes a lot of time and patience and a lot of out of my time to do these videos. So I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. So this is what it boiled down to. First, I started with commercial cleaning. Okay. Next, I had residential cleaning. Then I moved into apartment cleanouts or apartment cleaning. Okay. Uh, I offered pest control later on. Once I started doing like apartments, I noticed that they had like roach problems. You would see like mice, and it was like real creepy. But as I was cleaning, I'm like, this shit is just absolutely atrocious, right? So I offered that as a service to them, even though I didn't have the spray. I didn't have none of the chemicals. Like I wasn't an exterminator, right? I didn't do pest control. But the way my mind is set up and the way my mind is wired, I figured like just because I don't have something don't mean I can't obtain it. So I said, well, what I'm going to do is offer this service, outsource the service to somebody that already in that field, already in that business. And then that's how I'll start, you know, making money on that. So what I would do is bring the pest control people or whoever I hired to do that. We would put them under contract. I would bring them the client. I would pay them more money so they would want to do more work with me. And I always like to use the 70-30 example. I would love to pay them 70% of the revenue that come in for that particular service because I'm going to continue to build this client each and every week or each and every month, right? So it's not like I'm losing out. They're going to make this one time, maybe twice, maybe three times if they got to, return. Because sometimes in pest control, you got to do it a few times for it to, get the problem away, get it, all the roaches out, get all the mice out, things of that sort. Sometimes you got to do it a few times. Well, each time it was going to be done, I didn't mind paying them more because I was steady billing this account week after week, month after month. So it made sense to me to pay them more. That way, when I call, as soon as I say my name, they'll be there, Johnny on the spot, because they know I pay well. So I use that same philosophy with other people. So the next service that I decided to do was painting. And the reason I offer painting because they asked me if I painted. So I said, yes, I painted. And then what I did is start looking up painters, right? And I try to check their references, check their background, make sure they were, solidified in their area of expertise, right? So then I hired a painter. And I still have these people today. They're not on payroll or anything. They're subcontractors of mine. Okay? We got them under a contract, right? And it's an ongoing contract. So the way it works is I go and I look for these people, right? I bring them in, put them under contract. They still have their business or whatever they do. They still have their business. But whenever I call them, they're there, right? So that's how it worked for me. So that's why when I say, well, I offer pest control, I offer painting, I offer this, I offer that. Maybe I'm not doing it personally, or may not have a staff to do it personally, but I've outsourced the service to somebody else. So it's one and the same. And I like to hire the best, right? So I kind of look at a lot of different things, check a lot of reference. I kind of want to really make sure that these people, trying to get my money up for, forgot about you. Thanks a lot for the call. Yo, Five, what's up? Doing bad, trying to get my money. Okay, not a problem, dude. Not a problem. But like I said, this is how I would get those particular contracts or get those upsells on things. So if we were already cleaning the apartment anyway, right, or cleaning the residence anyway, and they had a pest control problem or they had a painting issue, they wanted painted. Okay, I knew I wasn't gonna, clear out no roaches or clear out any, mice or anything of that sort. And I also knew I wasn't about to slang any paint anywhere. That's not my area of expertise. That's not the type of business that I wanted to go in. But because, once again, because I didn't offer it, I was intelligent enough or smart enough to outsource that to other people that does that. So I took the Henry Ford philosophy, right? The next thing, so when you outsource different services, you give them a 1099. Yes, you 1099 them because they're not an employee. Okay, so the next service was carpet cleaning. Now, the same thing with the carpet cleaning, the carpet cleaning business. Again, I really didn't want to attach myself to carpet cleaning. Again, you guys, if you're just joining me, I'm breaking this stuff down systematically from when I first started, what my mindset was, and how I've been able to not only grow but get my company work on autopilot. Right? We're doing a little north of $250,000 in revenue annually, and that's across the board from Atlanta, Toledo, Ohio, Michigan, and I'm still getting money off of the back end of the accounts that I sold in VA. So I'm just kind of giving you guys my system, breaking it down, and where my mindset was, how I was thinking. So next thing was VCT floor cleaning, stripping, scrubbing, waxing, that type of thing, right? So I didn't really necessarily want to do that. But I read up on it enough and I educated myself. And the same thing with all of these things, right? I educated myself enough to know what I need to do, what type of chemicals I'm supposed, what type of machines, right? And what would happen is, let's take carpet cleaning for an example. When I hired the guy to do the carpet cleaning, I had no idea what would be the top machine. Yeah, I watched a few videos, but everybody have their opinion of what's the top machine, right? What machine you should have. So what I did was, when I hired or subcontracted, I should say, not hired, when I subcontracted my subcontractor for carpet cleaning, okay, I pretty much looked at the machine that he had, right? I took a quick to my phone, took a quick snapshot picture of the machine, and what I did was secretly go and buy the machine. Okay. Now I was able to, excuse me, I was able to find a machine at a liquidation. And I tell people all the time, if you want to get into that business, try to find it at a resale shop, at a liquidation center, maybe the Salvation Army, some type of secondhand place, right? Okay, and then you can get a pretty good deal on it too. Or I tell people, I was telling a guy the other day, I contact storage facilities, okay, around my area because a lot of times people don't pay their storage, and you can find fantastic stuff. If you're looking for a lawnmower, if you're looking for vehicles and some flat screen TVs, if you're looking for, they're trying to get rid of that stuff, right? So liquidation, and this is just how I'm wired, you guys. This is just brilliance on my side, right? Who thinks to contact a storage facility, right? So I contact storage facilities in my area, ask them if they had this, ask them if they had that. Whatever they had, you can go down and take a look at it, right? Before you make purchase, plug it up. I wanted to make sure everything was operable. Can you do foreclosed cleanouts as a cleaning business? Sure, sure. If that'll be a niche market, foreclosed floor foreclosure cleanouts, right? That'll be a niche market, So if that's where you want to penetrate, you want to concentrate that, then penetrate everything right there and to just work with those foreclosures, line yourself up with different realtors and property management companies and things like that, because they will be the ones that be able to better assist you with that, right? So very Yep, yep, very clever. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I knew that they wanted to get rid of that stuff, so they would have it at a storage facility, and I would call facilities. I would call like auctions, or figure out where the auctions were for stuff like that. Liquidation centers, go to liquidation stores, right? They want to liquidate this stuff. They try to get rid of this stuff. And that's how I got my initial equipment. Okay. I didn't buy it new in the beginning. I got it for a fraction of the new price, right? And I still got all this stuff in the warehouse today downtown. We where we store all our vacuum cleaners and bags and chemicals and things like that. We got like a downtown warehouse facility where we store. So, and I still have the old equipment along with my new equipment. Okay. As I grew, I was able to purchase newer stuff, right? And I knew that I could use it as a tax write-off. So I knew it. That was my mindset. I'm like, well, shit, I can write it off. It's a business expense. Okay, so that was my mindset. But anyway, moving right along, you guys, I concentrated next on type of accounts. What type of accounts I wanted, right? I wanted like medical facilities, chiropractors, dentist offices, different things like that. As I grew, I started going into like maybe churches. We have a school. We have nursing facilities now. I think we got like two salons. We clean a couple like strip mall stores. In like a strip mall. Where they have different stores and stuff like that. We do that. And let me be honest, the way I really got those accounts is we were cleaning those windows. You can make a lot of money in strip malls. I mean, if you can clean, and I tell people this all the time, if you're into window cleaning and you go to like the strip mall area in your area, or whether you're in a suburban area or like the city, they might have Pizza Populas, Simply 10, City Trends, Family Dollar, KFC, right? They have all these different places in one area. You guys know what a strip mall basically is, right? In a row of stores. And you can go from store to store and try to clean the window, right? And then offer commercial cleaning as another service that you offer, right? So that's how I was able to get those type of accounts in the strip mall area, right? I just let them know that, hey, we do commercial cleaning too. So we do building cleaning, right? So, and that's how I was able to get those particular accounts. Okay, so you guys got to be creative. You got to be smart, right? You want to study every single day. You got to make this. It's no different than like when you go to college. You got to study every day because you got to get a good grade on that test, or you just want to make sure you know everything because you're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to take this class, or maybe hundreds of dollars, right? Depending on the class. So you want to do an exceptional job, really, because you got to graduate. You want to do great. You spend the money for this, and you got to pay that money back a lot of times, right? So that was my philosophy. So that's how I think you guys should move. You want to educate yourself, okay? You don't have to know everything, but know enough, okay? Because when you bump your head, you're going to learn from that mistake anyway, hopefully, right? Next thing, most important, this really should have been at the top of my list, but this is actually the way I wrote it down is the way I was thinking back then. Next thing was my paperwork. Okay, so I had a lot of generic paperwork that came with my course initially. Okay, so when I purchased my course, a lot of this stuff came, some of the stuff didn't. But as I was working and having employees and, just going through the motions of having a business, you would learn certain things that you would have to have because a lot of times certain things will come your way. Like I had, people try to steal contracts from me, right? Employees and stuff like that. I had subcontractors try me. So that's what made me say, well, I need to up the ante on my contract, right? So I went through like well, this would be the contract that I use now. It's like the six different contract that I use. But over the course, I went after one, two, three, four, five different contracts before I got to this contract, right? Because I was, and somebody asked me about contract. I'm a hop right on it, you guys. I just want to don't want to forget my points. But I was amending the contracts myself, so I would add little things in the contract off of just basic generic contracts, right? And you have typos, misspellings. It wouldn't be professional. I'm like, fuck, man, I can't, right? So I'm like, I want to have this professional image, but I wanted my contract to read as if a lawyer wrote it up, but I would try to think how a lawyer would think, and I've never been a lawyer before, so that would be hard for me to do, correct? So, but I would make it sound good. It would be, because again, the less paperwork you have, the better it is. No one wants to read a 10-page contract or agreement. Okay, no one want to read 5 pages, dude. Whereas like you need a microscopic little device, instrument to try to read a whatever they call it, magnifying glass. You don't want to, don't nobody want to read that shit, right? So my document is just a 1 page document, like even to this day, right? So I like to keep it simple. You keep it simple, the better it is for you. All right. But if you word it a certain way, you can get everything that you need to get in that particular agreement or contract, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it agreement. But you can get everything in that agreement, keeping it under 1 page, if it's just worded correctly, right? It's all about how it's worded. That's why I went through so many different contracts, because either uh, like my subcontractors would find a loophole and they would try me, or I'll get into a dispute over a length of time with maybe a client and they'll try me. Well, it doesn't say that in the contract. Can you show me where it says that in the contract? And you get tired of hearing that shit, right? So as I began to build and I, was able to have money coming in, right? I had a lawyer, eventually got a lawyer and stuff like that. I went through 3 lawyers, right? So but anyway, the lawyer I have now helped build this contract that I have. So again, that's why I tell you guys, you want to get you a good lawyer, you want to get you a good accountant, and you definitely want to have a good relationship with the bank. Okay, because you never know when you might try to go after a loan or get a business loan, personal loan, or whatever, right? You just still want to have a pretty good relationship with the bank. Okay, so let me see what else I have here. Let me answer these questions because a few guys asked me some questions here. Let me go back up. Kevin, let me see. Kevin asked me basically how many contracts did I get my first year. My first year, I still stayed in the same state. I think I want to say within the first year, I had about 13. Okay, because I will fluctuate with my contracts because I will lose some, whether it's fault of my own or whether somebody will come in and undercut me, right? They'll charge a lower fee than what I was charging, then I will lose that contract. So I will fluctuate. I think the most that I had in the first year at one time was like maybe 16, 17, give and take. Okay. But by the end of the year, I think I was down to like maybe 13 or 14, maybe something like that. So I would say between 13 and 16. Hopefully that helps you, dude. I don't know. Again, like I say, it would fluctuate a lot for me because I would get fired. Hey, how's it going? I would get fired or somebody would come in and undercut me. I see you, Leon. I'm working my way down the comments list here. Uh, Let me see. Who else? That's smart to do accounts yourself. Yep, that's it. Derek Carter, he said, what's the best way to write up a contract when you never done one? Well, the best way I would suggest you do is model. Just get a template, get a format. You can Google how to write up a contract. You also can get this book called Contract for Dummies, Business Contract for Dummies. Okay, and they give you just generic contracts that you can start there. Okay, now eventually you will have to change it over time, but the book gave you contracts on everything from real estate, uh, uh, all type of contracts. You name the contract is in that book. I used that in the very beginning too. Just again doing research, business contract for dummies, right? It comes with a CD. You put the CD in a computer and it has a list of all of the contracts that's in the book. You can actually print it off on the CD. And that was the start. It didn't last very long because it was just so generic, right? It was just I would do this service for this length of time, for this price, sign date, I sign date, they sign date, right? It was very generic, right? Just very basic. Okay. So that's let me see what else here. That's a technique that you guys could do, or that's something that you can do. Don't hire family, right? Good evening. Good evening. Let me see. Yo, Fob, what's going on? Trying to get the money up. Then forget about. Okay, great. Let me see. 1099. Yep. You give them a 1099 at the end of the year. Let me see here. Derek say, do you do clothes cleanouts as business? No. I'm sorry. I thought you asked, about doing it. No, I don't do foreclosed cleanouts. Very clever. Let me see here. Leon asked me what type of clients are your ideal clients. My ideal clients are medical facilities. Uh, Currently, most of my clients are preschools, but I'm getting tired of them. Yeah. Have you ever had a government contract? No, I never had a government contract. Um, my ideal clients in the very beginning was medical facilities, banks, and auto dealerships. I mean, you can make a ton of money with auto dealerships. And they're very simple to clean. They're not carpeted for the most part. It's just basic cleaning, mopping, sweeping. They may ask you to, wipe down the cars. Where the customers come in, they put their fingerprints on the window on the cars in the showroom. The best way to clean those off is just use Windex for everything, right? And microfiber cloth. You don't want to nick up the cars or scratch up the cars. Use a microfiber cloth, Windex, you're good to go. That's whether you're wiping little smudges off or whether you're wiping off like the window, right? You just spot. If you see a smudge, not wipe down the whole car. You just spot clean, right? So those were my ideal accounts in the very beginning. Just medical facilities, banks, and auto dealerships. Okay, moving right along. So we talked about the startup process. That was number one. Okay, this is my thinking, you guys. If you're just joining me, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, this live might go pretty long, but I want to help you guys get some type of structure going. So to recap for those that missed the early half of this video, number one, figure out your startup. What sector of the business you want to go on, or what structure I should say of business you want to go under. Right? You want to be an LLC. You want to be a sole proprietor. Like I told you guys, I was a sole proprietor first. Got a little money up. Eventually became an LLC. Right? So number two, you want to do your marketing. Okay, you want to do your marketing. What forms of marketing you're gonna attack? What worked for me may not work for you, but you won't know what worked for you until you try something. Okay, so my thing to this day is still cold calling, and door to door. Okay, because it works for me. It's terrific. To me, it's the best way. It's not the only way. I just feel it's the best way in my own personal opinion. Uh, Number three, in my mind, was maintaining my clients. Okay, so once I do this marketing and get the clients, I was really thinking about how I was going to maintain them, right? Being that it was just me in the very beginning. Okay. Number four, what type of services was I going to render or was I going to offer? I hope you guys jotting this down, taking notes, because I'm just kind of giving you guys my whole system. Okay. And by the end of all of this rundown, you're going to see that I'm still doing the same thing the same way. That's why I have a system in place right now. So I was cold call. Laughing out loud. What worked for me so far as well. Yeah, cold calling is a beautiful situation. It's beautiful, especially when you have a pretty decent script. My script isn't perfect. I get denied, you guys. I get denied. I know because of the way I talk about with the lead generation and this type of thing. I know it seems like it's just the best thing ever. I feel it's personally the best thing, right? Because it works for me. But I still get turned down, right? I still get no's. It's still taking me a gazillion calls before I, get, that one hit, right? So, anyways, uh, services rendered. So I kind of wrote down what type of services I wanted to do. In the very beginning, like I said, I wanted to start with window washing and commercial cleaning. Okay, eventually I branched off into apartment cleanouts, residential, pest control, painting service, carpet cleaning, and VCT floor cleaning, right? I eventually branched out to those, which most of those particular services I outsource to a third party that's already in that business, already have that as a niche, already does that for a living, right? Now, I do watch when they work, when I have carpet cleaning guys, and I meant to say this earlier, I do watch how they do it. Right, no script is perfect, but sometimes the sound, people think that, there's a such thing as a perfect script. But anyway, um, I forgot my train of thought. Oh, I do watch when I hire subcontractors to do a job for me. I do like to watch them just to see how they do it because if they've been doing it for 13 years, they're very knowledgeable about, let's say, painting, or they're very knowledgeable about carpet cleaning. That's not my thing, right? But I want to be knowledgeable enough to know how to do a specific job in case I ever had to do that job. So it's not just a matter of just babysitting somebody, right? You do want to be at the facility when your subcontractors is there. You don't necessarily have to be over their back, but me, again, I look at every account as a baby for me, right? As like a son or a daughter. I would not want anybody to just misuse, abuse, mistreat, or otherwise my child, or we gonna have whole problems, right? And that's the way I look at my accounts. So I may be around the area, but I'm not from room to room. I will check on them. Hey, bud, everything's good. Everything, yeah, everything's great. Everything great. That's my way of checking to make sure that number one, nothing is walking away from the premise, right? Because you don't want to have to do no insurance claim for anything petty as fuck, right? You don't want to have to, they stealing ink pens and candy out the candy jar and shit like you don't want to have any just petty things like that because when you outsource this service, a lot of times the company that hired you, your client, they hired you to do the service. You just outsourced it to a third party that you have under contract. Okay? Still, whatever that person does in that account fall on you and not the subcontractor because they hired you to do the service because you said you offer the service. So it falls under you. They're not going to attack the third party vendor that you have or the subcontractor that you have because they had no idea that you was going to bring a third party in. You said you offered the service. And in my mind, the way I think, I'm like, well, I offered the service. I hired this guy to do it. Who cares if it's me doing it or if it's somebody that I really have on payroll or I have a subcontractor? So that was my mindset. But as long as that person agreed to my contract, my vendor, right, my subcontractor, they agreed to the subcontractor contract, right, and they do a magnificent job, we won't have any problems. We won't have any because I'm going to get the praise when they come in Monday morning, the next morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning. They're not going to say, "Oh, Fabio, your subcontractor did a great." They're going to say, "Fabio, your company, you guys are awesome. You guys, I'll have to use you again. Thank you very much. I'm glad you appreciate us." Right? You're going to get all the praise for it when they do the good work, but they're getting the money because you're going to pay them more. At least I would suggest you to pay them more, especially if they're doing fantastic work. You pay them more so that you can kind of keep them around. You pay them less when you call. They not going to be so thrilled to take your phone call, right? Because you're a cheapskate. You don't want to pay, right? So again, we moving right along, you guys. Again, I talked about the type of accounts that I wanted to get or that I like to get in the very beginning. Really, I heard, well, it depends on who you ask. I heard government contracts like to pay the less because they like for you to almost feel privileged that you get the opportunity to work for the government. You get the opportunity to work for them, right? I know people who's done government contracts. Some people told me that it's good money in government contracts. Some people told me it's shitty money in government contracts. There is more red tape, as far as business uh, licensing. They might want you to have a certain type of license and not an LLC. There is certain uh, um, insurance, right? A lot of it's certain insurance that they want you to have. So it's a lot of red tape, dealing with the government. Okay, it may not. It's not gonna. I tell you right now, it won't be as simple as if you went to a dentist's office and solicited that and got in that contract, right? Another thing these days that I like to do, when I'm talking about the contracts that I like to have in the very beginning, were the contracts that I named, were dentist offices, medical facilities, dentist offices, chiropractic offices, things like that, car dealerships, and um, and banks. But now I like industrial buildings, like this that I'm in. Right? You guys hear me talk about this building. This is one of my favorite contracts here. Because it pays me in the double digits. You can really amass and grow your business extremely quick doing industrial buildings or multi-unit buildings. What I mean by that, or they call it office park buildings. These are buildings that might be one story or two story, but they have multiple companies in there. Like they have an insurance office here, they have a salon here, they have a candy store here, right? They have different, it's one big building, maybe one story or two stories, maybe multiple story floors, but they have different companies within this building, right? They might have a lawyer here, an accountant here, whatever here, barber here, right? They have these different type of companies in here, right? I love those buildings too. But right now, I'm more in love with the industrial buildings, the plants, that type of thing. I like that because there's pretty decent money in it, and you can grow really, really fast. But you do have to have the manpower for it, right? And they will ask you about insurance, a certain different. It's not really an extensive process, but they will ask you about insurance. So I would advise you, if you don't have insurance, to have insurance before you tend to go look for like multi-unit buildings or office park buildings or industrial buildings. Okay, you might be able to get away with not having it initially, if because some, I get it, money might be a factor. You might not have the money to get it right now. So if you don't have the money to get it right now, I would suggest you start small. Now that don't mean that a small company won't ask you if you have insurance or won't suggest that you have insurance, but the chances, the likelihood that them asking you that, it'll be slim to none. I still get accounts today, smaller to medium sized accounts, where they don't even ask me for insurance, and I don't even bring up insurance. Why bring up something? Why make your job much harder, right? Make your chance of getting in much harder. So if they don't ask about it, I don't bring it up. Okay, but anyway, let's keep going. We talked about type of accounts, paperwork. Paperwork is a plus. You want to have a great agreement. If you can have it from the jump, have it from the jump. You want your paperwork must be great. You want to have good paperwork. You want to have a great agreement. You want to have a estimate sheet, like like a spreadsheet, what you draw up your estimates on or turn your quotes in on, right? You want to have, or they call it a proposal sheet. It's all pretty much the same thing, right? It's the same dynamics. You want to have a good estimate sheet, uh, a good agreement. You want to have a non-disclosure. You want to have a non-compete, right? These documents are very, very important, and I found that out the hard way. Okay, non-disclosure is basically when you hire somebody, they're pretty much signing their life away, stating that they're not going to disclose pretty much how you operate within your organization. Okay, so the non-compete is just saying that they're not going to try to learn the way you operate, quit your job, quit your company, and then go and start up a business. Now you can't lock them down for life. Generally speaking, non-compete is generally speaking 1 year. It's a 1 year agreement. Proposal with a good visual help when you turn in quotes. Yeah, yeah. So, so you want to make sure your paperwork is not subpar. You want to have pretty professional paperwork as possible. Okay. And when you hire somebody, I would suggest you have them sign a non-disclosure and a non-compete. Okay. And the reason those two things is important, because if you have me sign just a let's say compete, I didn't sign a non-disclosure, so that don't mean that I can't tell my homeboy how you work, have him set up the business, go in business with him, let him be the lead of the business, and we running our operation the way you run your operation, right? Because you didn't say that I couldn't talk about it, right? You just said that I couldn't personally leave your company and start another company to go in competition with you, right? So again, you got to be smart. You got to be smart. So that's why I talk about these particular forms. Other companies, to my knowledge, that's independent, that's starting up, is not even thinking about a non-compete, non-disclosure. And that's why, and some of them are my subscribers, and that's why I get the phone call, dude, what happened was, man, this shit crazy, man. This is one of my first accounts, and what, the motherfucker that I hired, man, he got the fucking account, bro. Like, how is there the way I could get the shit back? Like, that's pretty much how the conversation would go. I don't get a lot of calls like that, but I've gotten a few calls like that. It's dead weight after that. Once these people decide they want this person and they don't want you, it's nothing that I could tell you to help get that contract back once they decided that they wanted this person, right? So yeah, when you put them under the non-compete, the non-compete and the non-disclosure, that's an advantage to you. Okay. So again, make sure you have pretty decent paperwork. Next thing, building my staff. This is the way I was thinking. Again, everything I have everything formatted here systematically with lines and everything written out the way I was thinking. Uh, if I had to start all over, I would probably move things around and shift things around on this paper. But this was my actual thinking when I first started. Okay, so building my staff. How was I going to get employees? All of this, like this was a big thing for me, right? You say, what should you send them when they ask for you to send them something? You can send them a flyer or any marketing material that you have. Don't send them a quote or anything, no contract or anything like that via email until you've done a walkthrough and they agree that they want to hire you. Okay. And once they agree, once you do the walkthrough, you can send the quote. Now, if you did the walkthrough and it's okay, you want to make sure that it's okay to send the quote via email. I wouldn't suggest it, and I got my reasons being for that because I don't know how many times I've sent emails of just regular shit like uh, flyer or brochure or something like this, right? I send it, I do a follow-up phone call, and they say they didn't get it. So if they told me they didn't get the brochure, they didn't get the flyer, I know fucking well they're probably gonna play with me and tell me they didn't get the quote, and then that's gonna hang up or waste my time to a certain degree where I want to answer. I just pretty much want to know, are you going to hire me or you're not? Why? And if you're not, why you're not going to hire me? I like to know that as a case study going into my next situation, right? When I go and solicit, if I made a mistake over here, I damn sure don't want to make that mistake over there. So when you turn your estimate in, your quote, your estimate, your bid, your proposal, whatever terminology you want to use, when you go and turn that in, I would suggest that you don't do it via email unless they specify that that's the way that they would like to receive it. Okay, if they don't specify that they want to receive it that way, I would suggest you physically take it to them. That way you can say, here, Mr. Thomas, here's the agreement, give it to them in hand, and you can actually look at it with them. And if they have any questions, you can go ahead and answer those questions right now, opposed to emailing it. Then Mr. Thomas have questions, but he never called you, and then you finally get a hold to Mr. Thomas, and then, oh, I've been meaning to call you. I did read the agreement, man, but I have a few questions about it. See, me, I want to get that shit out the way, dude. I want to get it out the way now. Get it out the way now. Whatever your questions is, now. So once I draw up the agreement, or I'm sorry, not the agreement, even with the agreement, I like to take it to them because I don't want to email it and then waste time. If you got questions, let me go ahead and answer the questions, right? So if you're doing your quote, your proposal, whatever, take it to them unless they specify to fax it or unless they specify to email it. Okay. This is my own opinion, you guys. This is not, bond. This is not the Bible. You might see another subscriber. They would suggest you to do it another way. If it makes sense to you to do it that way, by all means, do it that way. Again, I'm not telling you this is the only way to do it. This is just the way that I do it because it makes sense for me to do it this way. Physically take it in, give it to the decision maker, have them take a look at it. If you have any questions about it, go ahead and ask me right now so I can go ahead and answer those questions for you, right? If you're not going to hire me, I would even like for you to tell me that right now so I can just figure out what, was it my demeanor? Was I not professional? Was it the numbers? What was it that caused you not to hire me? Right? I try to get those answers ASAP just as soon as I can. Right? Because again, the more they prolong, the more you're kind of waiting, thinking that, you know what, I think I got this in a bag. Maybe I don't. I think I got this in a bag. Maybe I don't. I think this, we've all been there before. I'm sure you guys been there before. You did the walkthrough. They said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have another. We got another walkthrough with another company tomorrow. We got another walkthrough after that with another company. What we're gonna do? Give us a call back and 3 days and we'll see what happened. Well, at that point, you have no choice but to wait. But if you got an option between emailing something, faxing something, and taking it in and giving it to them, I would suggest you take it in and give it to them. That way, when they take a look at it, you can say, hey, if you could take a pretty good, you could take a good look at it right now. If you got any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. I just want to make sure that you understand it. That's why. So that's the way you want to come off. You want to make sure that they understand it, because if they don't, it may prolong, right? You might not never get to the agreement portion because they got questions and they kind of playing wag the tail with you, right? You want to get those questions answered. So again, but hopping back on, the next thing that I was more after my paperwork and stuff like that, I was thinking about was my staff, building my staff. I wanted to build an exceptional team, right? Now, in the beginning, I fucked up, right? Because again, like I said, if you see my first $5,000 video, I kind of did some fucked up things, right? I thought I was Donald Trump before my time, Bill Gates before my time. I was spending the revenue and shorting their checks. Then they started quitting on my ass and left me with all these accounts that I had to clean and bend over backwards because I had got used to not cleaning at this point, right? Because I had workers. But when they leave your ass, you got to hire some more workers. And guess what? Business still got to go on. So that's why I say don't play with don't play with your employees, and they won't play with you. If they make sure their money is there. Every once and again, we know technical things happen and it might be short, but make sure the money is there. Okay. You'd rather keep a good worker, pay that man or pay that woman well, and keep them on the team. They'll go the extra mile, do extra work for you, and all of that, than not pay them, jerk them around on the pay, and then they quit on your ass. Now, here, you might have had something to do with your son tonight or your daughter tonight, right? You got a recital or basketball game to go to. Now you can't do it because they quit on your ass because you playing with the pay. Trust me, this happens. It happened to me, and I don't even have any children, right? It happened to me, and I just wanted to just chill. But I couldn't chill because I jerked their pay, so they jerked me off. They say, fuck, I'm not showing up, dude. This guy, he short my check. This is the second week he's doing this. I'm out of here. I quit, right? So I had to work that account again until I hired somebody to replace me in that particular facility. So I learned the hard way. But again, building your staff. You want to build a great staff. You want to have great training. That's what it comes down to. Great training. Great training. You want to have a great philosophy, about your company, right? You want your company to stand on standards. You want to have certain standards for your company, from the dress code to like uniforms to the whole dynamics, the way your company operate. You want to send a whole different message why your company is different than other companies out here that does the same thing that you do. Okay. Okay. So again, and it all comes down to training. If you don't train them well, you don't train them swell, then you're going to get a lot of people quitting on you. You're going to get a lot of people jerking you over. You're going to have a lot of hiccups because your training is low. You have weak training. Okay. Moving right along. My next thing that I was concentrating on after I build my staff and thing was growth slash expansion. What do that mean? That means I wanted to get even more accounts. I wanted to grow, right? Because I felt like I had these sites already covered, right? Whether it was 2 or 3 sites, 4 or 5, 6, 7 sites, whatever it was, I felt like I had them covered and I had bodies in them. I had well-trained people that I personally trained. Because remind you guys, I started those accounts off 30 to 60 days myself. So that was my way of training myself before I brought a body in there, right? So then I trained them on what it was that I was doing so they'll know how to do what I was doing. Okay. The building is you don't necessarily have to do it 60 days, but give and take if it's pretty sizable, you want to make sure you really know what you got to do in there, give it 60 days, right? After that, you hire a body, right? Again, you don't stop looking for accounts though. Don't say, well, I got this one account, so I'm gonna stop right now. You continue to look. You continue to look. Okay. But you want to have the mindset that I need to learn what needs to be done in this building because eventually I want to hire somebody and put them in here so I can move right along to the next facility. And then you train yourself in that facility. Okay. So you want to learn what it is that you need to know. While I'm on this topic, when it comes down to a key and a code, what is the key and a code? That means the keys to the building of yourself saying who you are, what your company is about, and follow up to your leads. No, not that I can think of. I've done many videos, but I don't think I've done a video like that. Not that I recall. I mean, I would probably have to go through my channel myself, but I don't remember doing a video like that. Um, but like I said, expansion was very, very important to me. Once I started getting staff and getting them trained and getting them in the building, I wanted to grow, right? Because I knew come growth, come a better profit margin, right? The larger I get, the more profit I get, right? So that was my philosophy. So I wanted to expand. This is the way, again, I'm giving you guys a systematic way that I set my business up. And while it still runs and operate pretty much on the same dynamics, a few things didn't change over time, but we got the same dynamics. Okay, so again, expansion and growth. That was after I built my team. That's what I was most focused on. I said, okay, I got people in these buildings. Now I need to grow. Now I need to expand business. Okay, the next thing, working on autopilot. Working on autopilot. So now, as you guys see from point one all the way to where we're at now, whatever point we're at now, now you see I've kind of built a system, so to speak, right? From the startup process to the marketing process to how I would maintain my clients, right? To what services I was going to offer, right? To what type of accounts I wanted to go after, right? To paperwork, what paperwork I needed and contracts and agreements I needed, right? To building my staff, right? To expanding and growth, right? And we're coming all the way down to working on autopilot. That's working on autopilot should be the key for you. Basically, what that means is you're not an employee of your business. You're not self-employed anymore. You're considered an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs govern everything. They're the governor of everything, right? They don't slang the mop no more, right? They don't do the billing and coding and all of this, right? Whatever the case is, right? Whatever industry you're in. If you're in the tech, you Bill Gates, he's not he's not the engineer no more. He's not building the software and developing the software no more. Where did you get the capital to pay your employees, or did you net 15 the contract to pay the employee every? Yeah, I paid every 2 weeks. I paid every 2 weeks. I paid every 2 weeks because it made sense for me to do that. See, the unique thing about doing it yourself for the first 30 days or the first 60 days is that revenue you get to keep. Now that doesn't mean that you won't spend none of it. I mean, obviously you know that, but you still get to keep a certain. So I knew eventually that I wanted to hire in those particular facilities, right? So I would try to, build revenue and still look for other accounts. There was a time where I was working maybe like 5 or 6 accounts at one time, right? You go from account to account, or certain days you have more accounts than other days, right? So, but at the end of the day, it all come down in monthly revenue. So I would get it monthly, like a monthly revenue, but I had a substantial savings saved up just for employees by the time I was ready to hire my first employee or my second employee, if that makes sense. But anyway, Working on autopilot. How was I able to get my business on autopilot? Right? Again, that's having great workers, right? Great team members, because again, you don't want to take advantage of your workers. Okay, I know that sometimes people frown upon the workers, but you don't want to take you don't want to look down on them or frown down upon them, right? Because you need them as much as they need you. Trust me. Okay, and without them, they can make your life a living hell. No call, no show. Quit on you at the last minute. Just make up things, right, to do because they know you need them. But if you pay them well, I'm not saying pay them, over the top. Pay them minimum wage the way I did it. I paid them minimum wage because it's illegal to pay below minimum wage, number one. So you got to pay them at least minimum wage. You pay them whatever the minimum wage rate is in your area, right? And then as you see that they come to work on time, they do an exceptional job. They're investing into the business, which means they're letting you know, hey, we need more product, we need more all-purpose clean, we need more green clean, whatever the case is, right? We need more vacs. The vac is going bad, right? They to me that's them being invested in the situation, right? They texting you, they're giving you a call and let you know, keeping your heads up. Oh, I overheard this. Sometimes I get employees where they overheard, maybe they said, for an example, maybe the administration might be talking about something and they say, well, I don't know if we like this cleaning company, and they'll wire me up. To me, that's what I need. I need to hear that, right? But you're gonna have employees like that, and then you're just gonna have employees that's gonna work 2 weeks just enough to get a pair of Jordans or get their hair and get their nails done, and then they out of there, right? So, or get the kids something, then they leave you. So again, you want to have a great staff. They very detrimental to your business. Okay, and that's how I was able to build my business up on autopilot, because what I did was take my top producing staff member, my employee, I built from within the company. I took them, raised them up to what we would call maybe a area manager or a road supervisor or something like that, where they go and check on the accounts and check on the employees, make sure they have the proper uniform on, that type of thing. Make sure the vacs, everything is working. Make sure we don't have any problems. We got bags, we got liners, we got this, right? So you will build from the company from within instead of hiring from the outside. Now, you can always hire somebody that has a great reputation in that from the outside, but if you got somebody that's already showing up that you built this relationship with from from a company owner to employee, you build up from within, hire them up, and let them govern the rest of your employees. Okay, and that's how I was able to, like I say, that's why I got accounts in Georgia. I have accounts Michigan. I have accounts in Ohio. And again, you guys heard about I sold my all my contracts to a franchise in VA, right? So you heard that story. But even with that, I negotiated with, and it's a unique story because when I sold my contracts in VA, I told them had it written up a way where they wouldn't fire my employees, right? Because I had damn good employees in VA, right? Again, it all comes down to training. It all comes down to being fair. Okay, I learned my lesson trying to you fuck over them, they fuck you harder. Excuse my French, but that's how it goes, right? So I wrote when I sold those contracts, I still had people working in those contracts. So I wrote it up for sale where they had to keep those particular people unless those particular people decided they wanted to leave, because sometimes that happen. Management ship, people don't know how they're going to be treated because they've been accustomed to the way, maybe the way I treat them, right? The way it works at my organization. And sometimes they shift, like they find another job or they go somewhere else. Okay. But you at least had to offer, or at least had to give them the chance to say if they wanted to stay or not. That's the way I wrote it up in VA because, again, man, I'm still human and people have families. I'm trying to get customers or car magnets a good idea. I got car magnets now, and I find it to be a good idea if you're looking for employees, because when I'm at the stoplight, right, the most that happened or an email that I get based on the car magnet or the who will call my office are people that say, hey, I was standing at the bus stop. I was just wondering if you guys was hiring. I seen it on your car. So I get more of that. I very rarely, to be honest, get anybody that calls looking for uh, commercial cleaning. Now, it may work with residential cleaning. It may. And matter of fact, I'm probably thinking you got a better chance with residential cleaning than the commercial side of things. Okay. Um, but again, so that's how I build on autopilot. So before yeah, I'm doing residential and commercial. Well, yeah, I would say, I mean, you could put it together for commercial and residential, right? On one magnet, you let them know that you offer both service, but you're probably going to get residential clients from that. You may, but I know you're probably going to get a lot of phone calls from potential workers. You know, when you go to the mall, they see it on there. You at the gas station, you pull up. People gonna be like, "Hey, man, are y'all hiring? Hey, you guys hiring? Hold on, can I? Let me take a picture of it. I want to take a picture of it. I'm gonna give you guys a call." So I get that a lot, right? So I don't know. Maybe different areas might be different things. Okay, it may work. I'm just letting you know what how it goes for me. Um, so yeah, again, that's how I started building my business up on autopilot. That's why I was able to start up in Michigan and work out of Ohio, and go to Georgia and things like that, because I would use the same philosophy in each state. Okay. Whenever you shift states and you want to do different states, again, you have to register in each state. It's not, you can't use Michigan license right in Ohio, right? You got to start all over. You got to build it up, right? So it's a whole different thing. I mean, you can use the same business name as if it's available, right? But you have to start all over, you guys. All right, and you build it up. Once you get a set revenue, because that's what I did. I had to play with the numbers. I had to make sure that I was able to cover not only the personal bills, but the business bills, the payroll, the taxes, and all of that stuff that come with it before I left. I wouldn't have left and jump ship to another state knowing that I wasn't secure. You know, I didn't think that I had a good hold on this state. I wouldn't go to another state if I didn't have a good hold on this state. That makes sense. So again, it's all about training and the employees. I would suggest that you build from the inside and build it up instead of hiring from the outside, hiring someone in. Okay. And then in the same way, whether you have a residential company or not, you guys, you can have somebody, you know, you build up, right? And have them govern all your residential accounts, all your employees, right? And then what happens is once I jumped shift and I went to another state, I relied upon that person because again they were so invested. Remember, they were so invested early on in my company. They would let me know, you know, the same stuff, right? Now you pay them more, you give them a buck or two more, right? You give them more money because you're bringing them up from an employee. Let me see. As far as cold calling, do you have a script? Yes, I have a script. It's not for sale though. Let me see. That's what I'm focusing on in the morning. I need to make calls, but don't have a script. Uh, don't have my shirts in yet. Well, the shirt's probably on the way. The script, you can find the script online. It's very simple. You're not selling it. It's more of an introductory call. Okay. You can find a simple script online and just modify it to how you would say it. Okay. You're going to get a lot of no's. I'm going to tell you that now, so don't give up. Okay. You're going to get a lot of no's. It just comes with the territory. It's a numbers game. It sounds cliche, but it literally is. Okay. Um, but again, going back to building it up, allowing your company, because you don't want to be, guys, look, it's no fun of being an employee of your company, being self-employed. That means you're working within the organization, you're working within the business. You want to be an entrepreneur, right? Because you want to be able to spread your wings, right? You might want to go from cleaning to being a DJ. I don't know, right? But you're not going to be able to do that effectively if you're working within the organization. Okay, if you, I talk to a lot of my subscribers, a lot of people, you know, worldwide. I get calls from everywhere, and people have these great ideas. They want to do cleaning, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to do this and that. And I tell them, lay it down to one thing. Lay it down to one thing. Okay, don't try to do, even when you pick a niche market. Some people say, well, Fabio, I want to do commercial and I want to do residential. I say, well, which one do you like better? They say, shit, I don't know. I just know I want to do both of them. I say, well, first figure out what you like better or what you feel that you can be more profitable at. Start there, and then as you generate revenue in that particular niche of the industry, then branch out. That's what I did. Okay, that's what I did. So again, when they start asking me about window cleaning, apartment cleaning, out residential that I do, pest control, painting, again, when it came down to painting, pest control, carpet cleaning, that type of thing, anyway, I knew I didn't want to do that particular part of the cleaning business, right? But I was intelligent and smart enough to know that I can outsource this to a subcontractor, have them do it, have them do a magnificent job because that's their specialty. That's what they like to do, right? And then I can get a profit from it. I will pay them more because they did the job. I brought them the deal, but they did the job. And then again, all of the weight fall back on you. So if they do a shitty job, that's going to fall back on you. If they do a great job, that's going to fall back on you. Make sure you put them under a subcontractor's contract or agreement, right? You want to have some type of agreement with them. You iron out the numbers. I like to use percentage. Sometimes they might tell you what percentage they prefer. You just negotiate. It's part of business. They're a business person just like you. Okay, so if they don't agree to your numbers, you say, oh, you know what? That's not going to work for me. How about we do it like this? They might say, oh, shit, that can't, yeah, that won't work for me. But if you like them enough, you just negotiate. It's part of business, guys. Okay, so don't just let it, shut down. If you've seen their work, and they show you pictures, or you contact their reference, you see they got a stellar background with it, then try to negotiate something because that might be the best woman for you, the best guy for you. It's just a matter of coming up with an agreement. If you don't come up to an agreement, then there's somebody out there just as good. Okay. So again, I'm just trying to help you guys out from just a systematic way, right? I'm not trying to make this industry seem like it's something technical because it's not, man. It's a everyday. It's not technical at all. I swear to God, anybody can do it. You just got to have motivation. You got to be very goal oriented. You got to know what you want. You got to stay proactive, right? You got to stay motivated. People ask me all the time, Fabio, what motivates you? See, I don't have a Fabio like you guys have a Fabio. Like I motivate you, right? At least I try to. But me, I rely upon, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Grant Cardone, Jim Rohn, right? I listen to audio books and motivational people, right? Every single morning in my car, in the shower, right? And I'm playing it on my phone as I'm taking my shower, right? Again, that's what motivate me, right? So that's why I can really get out there and really work it like the way I do it. But again, so that's how you guys get it to go on autopilot. And then lastly, you want to repeat the process, repeat the marketing process. At least that's what I got written down here. You want to repeat the marketing process because if it's working, you don't want to change it. Okay, so if you're able to grow and you're able to work your business on autopilot, you're doing something right. I would suggest that you're doing something right. If you're able to operate in Michigan and Ohio and Georgia and VA or wherever else, right? And now I am moving into different markets because you guys remember I picked up this property management company where we're doing their apartment cleanouts locally here, but they also wanted the same company to do the cleanouts in Chicago, Ohio, and Indiana. And we picked up that contract. I never worked, well, besides Ohio, I never worked in the Chicago market and I never worked in the Indiana market. So I had to learn those markets. I had to learn about those areas. What's up? Does it ever get stressful being in your position where you work outside the business? Um, it it does, but see, like I have a great team. I have an assistant. I have to, and it's because you'll forget like the smallest things, Tony. Like it it's not stressful for me because it's kind of repetition. The only thing that might change for me, because you guys know I do more than cleaning, right? I have other business endeavors, so it's kind of just like balancing the two. It's only one Fabio. It's still my business, but I gotta, if I got a meeting over here on the cleaning side and then I got a meeting here on the auto side, right? I still have to be able to balance. So I think the more stressful part is my personal life, right? Because I'm always working. I'm always, trying to get new accounts. I'm dealing with my YouTube subscribers. I'm investing in my YouTube subscribers. And, I'm like, I talked to a guy the other day. Um, I try to just help them land an account over the phone. You know what I'm saying? Just talking to him like, hey, he had two phones, and I was like listening in on. He called one like, so it's so much that goes on. But as long as I got enough time to make everything work, Tony, I try to make it work. But like I say, I think my personal life take more of a hit than my business life. So my personal life, is very stressful. My eating habits, I'm down to like one meal a day, and it's really something short, like maybe like a tuna salad or something like that, right? It's nothing really big. I run a lot off of coffee. I wouldn't advise you guys to do that. It's too much of it's not good for you. I still get time to hit the gym. Um, it do get stressful, but once you get accustomed to it, it run like clockwork. But you will have those days. You're gonna have those days where things are not gonna go to plan. You're gonna have a certain way in your mind, and it just don't go the way that you planned it, right? You're gonna have certain days where um, something catastrophic is gonna happen in your personal life. Maybe a death, or somebody got sick, and then you have a meeting to go to, right? And you got to make a decision what you're going to do, how you're going to maneuver that around, right? So you're going to be tested. I like to tell people all the time, if you're not the type of person that deal well with being tested, then I don't think business in general is for you. I tell people all the time, even some of my subscribers, they say, "Well, Fabio, I'm just trying to get, man, I just want to make, $15,000 a month, man. I just want to make $2,000 a month, and I'm good, man. I just got to get this money. I just want to make this money." So then I ask them, like when I talk to my subscribers, I ask them, I say, "Dude, are you doing it just for the money?" Because I say, if you're doing it just for the money, you're probably not going to be as successful as you want to be. You're not going to put as much energy in it as you should put, because you're more focused on the dollar instead of focused on quality. Because without quality, you're not going to get that dollar. Without staying motivated and being proactive and doing it every day, you're not going to even get the contract, let alone the dollar, right? So, and I understand it, because when you need money, right? So, but if you just be cleaning, not the best, because again, as quickly as you get an account is as quickly as you can lose an account, you guys. And I try to tell you that, all the time. I done lost many accounts. I've got undercutted by franchise and non-franchise people, where they just came in and bid it lower, and got the contract. The next thing I know, they told me, "Hey, we put in 30 days, uh, you know, with you guys, and we're gonna go with another company." So, but it's crucial. You just got to be ready for it. In the very beginning, I couldn't really handle when the company would tell me, "We don't want you no more." I would be like I damn near want to be like, please, like, but that's a sign of a employee, like kind of begging for your job at McDonald's. Like, please don't. I got bills. Please don't. So I had to be an entrepreneur, and I had to, every time, my philosophy is, every time I lost one, I wanted to bounce back with two. So it made me go harder in the paint. And that's what I would suggest you guys do, man. It's not easy. I would be bullshitting if I was telling you guys that it's easy. It is a lot of money that you can make. It'll pile up really, really quickly, right? Bidding on accounts is not easy. I don't care if you're using a measuring wheel, the estimate breakdown sheet. I don't care, workloading on a software, because I got people that swear by that. And I'm telling you, when I tell people all the time, when a computer dictate what you should charge, it's not always 100% accurate. There's room for failure, or yeah, for failure. There's room for mistakes, in a software producing situation. So again, you're not always going to hit it uh, on a high note. You don't want to go too on a low note, right? Because you don't want to give away your service. You don't want to go too high, because then they're not going to hire you. So you got to find that middle point. And if you can get in that middle point, there's a high chance that just being in that middle point, you can definitely turn a profit. And I tell people that all the time, especially on my little coaching calls and things like that. If you can get it at the middle point, there's a great chance that you could turn a profit. Okay, do you guys have any questions for me? Again, we talked about the startup process. Just kind of what structure you want to go under. I got people that go under C corp, LLC, different structures. Okay. The next thing I talked about was marketing, right? What form of marketing that I started with and that I found, I guess profound for my company. Number three, the next thing I talked about was maintaining clients, okay, that I picked up. So, I went over that. Number four, I talked about services render, what type of services I wanted to offer within the industry eventually. I kind of went over that. The next thing I talked about was the type of accounts that I were going after, what type of accounts that I wanted, right? That I were looking after. So I talked about that. Paperwork. I talked about how important the paperwork is, right? Whether you have a non-compete, your subcontractor contract or agreement, right? Or just your basic agreement, your regular agreement for your clients, and your non-compete, non-disclosure, different paperwork you will want to have. I also talked about staff, right? Building my team or building a team, building your staff. Okay, I talked about how important it was to make sure you pay them on time, make sure you pay them what you're supposed to pay them, right? Um, how to build from the inside up. I talked about that, which go into the next thing of expansion and growth. The way that you grow is pretty much having a pretty good team, having a pretty good system up to this point. Because once you have a pretty good system, pretty good team, you're able to grow because you're able to focus on getting new contracts and, expanding the business. Okay, so then I talked about working on autopilot. That means just being able to open up business here and maybe going to another state and doing it. I told you guys how I build from the inside up, how I just hire from within. I made, somebody that was already working for me, made them into a manager or a supervisor of some sort. They governed the employees. They kind of looked at the overview of the business while I wasn't around. Oh, and let me tell you guys, if you hire from the inside out, you don't want to solely take their word as concrete. So, for an example, let's say you live in Texas, but you move to. Let's say you live in Houston, but you move to Chicago, right? Just hypothetically. Okay, so you got business going to Chicago. You call your ring leader. You call your head honcho down there, the person that you brought up as an employee. You made a supervisor. You ask them, hey, Don, how's everything going in Houston? How's everything going? Almost before you can ask the question, oh, everything is great. Everything is great, Fabio. Everything is great. Everything is great. We're not getting any complaints. Everything's being clean. Everything is great. Okay, what you don't want to do is solely depend upon what Don just told you. Okay, you do want to go behind Don back and ask the actual client. Okay, because there could have been something that happened, and Don just don't want to tell you about it because he thinks you're going to look at him a certain way, or he thinks you're going to judge him, or he don't know how you're going to respond if he tell you the negative. So almost inevitably, he's going to say everything is great, right? Everything is awesome, right? So you do want to follow up with the decision maker, your contact person, okay? And don't assume just because they haven't called you that there isn't no problem, okay? There isn't no problem because it could be a problem going on and they could have been meaning to call you for weeks. And then you call them, figure out what the problem is, and you're able to correct it just like that. Okay, opposed to just thinking, oh, everything is good. They haven't called me. Everything is good. And then the call you get don't be the call that you want to get. The call you get is, oh, we no longer need you. Okay, we're going with another company. You can't say, well, you guys didn't call me and let me know. Well, hell, you didn't call and check on the business. You didn't call and check on them. Again, this is not, again, guys, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just giving you from my perspective. Again, you might go to another YouTube channel and they might have a different perspective. That don't mean I'm right and they're wrong. They're vice versa. They're wrong and I'm right. Okay, we just have different perspectives. but our end goal is the same. We want to be profitable, right? We want to be a success. We just approach it differently. Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anybody that's online, if you just joining me here, I would like for you to like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate if you do. But in the meantime, I want to answer any questions if you guys have any. If not, then I'll go ahead and end the video. If you want to email me, you can do so at bookfabiohart@gmail.com, bookfabiohart@gmail.com. I can give you a list of the different type of paperwork that you will want to have. Okay, it's very important that your paperwork is good. Try not to have it be generic. Try to at least have some type of professional look to your paperwork. Okay, but that's bookfabiohart@gmail.com. Do you take money orders or only like direct deposit for clients? I'll take all method of payments. What else? Let me see. I got Cash App. How often do I get on YouTube? Generally, when I check my emails and I see ongoing concern about something, or if I have an idea, if I just think of something, I'm like, hey, I think this would be good for my subscribers, then I'll do a video about it. But my business is picking up. In my area, we get to the point where we have turnovers, or where people are not renegotiating their contracts from maybe franchise companies or other independent companies, and it's just we're just attacking the market, right? It's also getting a lot warmer in my area, so we're looking at more window cleaning jobs and different jobs like that, offering other services, that I not really big on, that I don't really typically offer. I'm more into my commercial side of things, but I'm out looking at window cleaning jobs, carpet cleaning jobs, that type of thing. So we're picking up speed. So I just kind of do it as I think I should do it. Let me go back to this other one about taking money orders. We take money orders, but a lot of my a lot of my contracts pay by credit card, and we just automatically bill them. So we keep it on file, and then through our processor, we just automatically bill their company card or their personal card or whatever card we're supposed to bill for the amount due. We still send out the receivables when they're supposed to go out. I'm sorry, the payables. We still send out the payables. So your invoices, you still want to ship your invoices out or send your invoices out, or however you need to get it to them, you still want to get your invoices out to them. We go door to door. How often you find business that just move in a particular office and no cleaning? Tiddy, he said, or Tidy, I think it's Tidy. He said, it seems like 9 times out of 10 people say they already have a company when you go door to door. How often do you find? Hold on 1 second, number 12. Hold on 1 second. Let me answer Tidy. Just moving in a particular office with no cleaning company in place. Generally speaking, when the companies that I find in my area that already have a company in place, a lot of times they're not happy. So I don't believe in the strong arm approach. I don't believe in trying to get them to change their mind. The same way I am over the phone is the same way I am in person when I deal with them. It's just, very conversational, more of a matter of fact type of way. So a lot of times I actually get phone calls just based on my presentation, just how I dealt with the person. They like my personality. And I tell people that all the time, Tidy, because a lot of times I tell people how you look and how you come off is pretty much how they're going to judge you. Okay. And they know in their mind if they're going to hire you or if they would hire you at some point. But it's not, to answer your second part of the question, it's not too often that I find somebody that, let me see, that just moved in a particular office with no cleaning. It's well, I wouldn't say just move, but I do find a lot of people that don't have no cleaning where they clean in house, where I'm able to, uh, I guess, help them change their mind on why they should hire us. So my whole thing is being able to get the walkthrough. I say, hey, would it be okay if we do a quick walkthrough? It's more of a matter of fact with me. It's some people have it in their personality, some people don't, and I'm not scared to talk to them, right? If they say, oh, we're busy now, I can't do it, I say, great. Would it be a good time for me to come back and we could just do a quick walkthrough? And, I can give you a quote after we do a walkthrough based on what they need done, right? And I've turned a lot of people that actually say, we're okay, we do it in house. I'll just say, well, what you think about a quick walkthrough? We do a quick walkthrough, and they'd be like, oh, sure. I'll be like, okay, cool. We do a quick walkthrough, and I'm able to turn that negative or basically that no into a yes by getting the walkthrough and which allow me to put in an estimate or give them a quote, right? And a lot of times they accept it because it's more of this like the dental offices, the smaller type of facilities that's like, oh, we're doing it in house, we're okay. The chiropractors, the clinics, the little smaller places, or sometimes the medium sized places. It don't always happen, but I have gotten that a lot where I've actually walked into a facility and they not had a company and I wound up and actually no one else walked in. Like they didn't have no bids on the table or nothing like that. I actually would be the only one to approach them, and a lot of times I would get the job. So hopefully I answered that tidy. But dealing with the door to door, like I say, I don't. I'm so accustomed to getting no's tidy that when I get it, it's just I say, okay, cool. One thing I like to say, okay, I understand at this point you're not interested in hiring a new commercial cleaning company at this time. But would it be okay if I call back the next quarter or contact you within 3 months to see where you're at with it? And that's whether they have a company or they don't have a company. I like to use that approach, and I write down on a business card, usually on their business card, put it up in the file. And then when I go to check my business card, I say, you know what? I got to call this company back in 3 months. I got to call it. Okay, in 30 days, I got to call them back because I told them I'll call them back. And I just stick to the script, and I'll just remind them that I came in, 3 months ago, right? And a lot of times they remember me or whatever. So I say, hey, I'm Fabio. I came in, and you didn't need a cleaning company at the time. I just wanted to see where you were at with it at this time. And they say, you know what? I think we've been thinking since you were last here. We've been thinking. Now it don't happen all the time, but sometimes it happen. But just think what would happen if you never followed up, if you never called back, tidy. A lot of times somebody else would probably got that contract, eventually, right? So you kind of you know how it goes. You kind of have to roll with the punches here. Let's see, number 12, or Channer, is it Channer? Say, how much would you charge for like a Mercedes-Benz stadium or a big event? Should you price that by square foot? I would suggest that you do. I would suggest you price that by square footage and by the hour, you know, based on, whatever type of venue you got in there. I don't know how big Mercedes-Benz stadium is, right? But if it's a stadium, I'm assuming it's kind of big. I would suggest that you probably charge by the hour and definitely by the square footage. And just depending on what type of cleaning, is it a one-time cleaning? Is it once a month? Is it once a week? Is it every day? So a lot of that is a factor when you put in an estimate. I have to be honest, I never bid it or went after a stadium, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And if I did, I'm just telling you how I would charge, how I would go about to price it. So, okay, Leon say, which company do you use receive payments online? Oh, for credit card payments, I use Card Service International. Let me see. I'm currently on receiving checks and I'm gonna pay automatically, pay every month. Yeah, you just have to ask them. A lot of times they. I'm gonna have to get back to that call. Uh, but Um, them paying by credit card is phenomenal if you can get them to pay by credit card. Just automatic, you automatically bill them at the appropriate time that you're supposed to, or I'm sorry, to automatically charge them at the appropriate time you're supposed to charge them. But you make sure the invoice still go out. Don't say, well, I don't have to send an invoice because I'm just gonna.
Get your money, man. Get your bread up. Gotta do it for yourself. Now you fed up. Get your study on. All praise be to God. Stay read up. God never let up.
I'm gonna have to get back to that. But you still send out the invoice when you're supposed to send out the invoice. Okay, you want to make sure they get that invoice definitely before you charge them, even though you already have the credit card information. Okay, but if you can get that deal set up, that's a cakewalk. Like that's the most beautiful thing. You can offer it to them as an option, and a lot of times, because if you don't offer it to them and let them know that you accept credit cards, they will just automatically assuming just to pay you check, especially if they had another commercial cleaning company before and that company didn't offer credit card processing or offer, being able to accept credit cards. So all they know is check. But it might be better for them to give you the credit card information. That way you can just handle it from there. You don't have to look like my phone.
Get your money, man. Get your bread up. Gotta do it for yourself. Now you fed up. Get your study.
Hello? Hello? What's going on? I'm at work. Oh, okay. Can I want to call you right back. Stick by your phone. What's going on? What's going on? I promise. I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna call you back in less than 5 minutes. Just answer the call when I call back. Sorry, guys, but yeah. So if you can get them to, I know that was unprofessional, but sorry. You see, kept calling me. But if you can, line up with a process. Like I say, I use Car Service International. You do want to, when you searching for a processor, you want to go kind of by the APR rate. You want to go by rates, right? Whoever give you better rate, okay? Because whether you do a swipe or whether you key it in, which is what we do, we don't have the terminal. We key it all. We key it all in. Okay, so once they fill out the form with the credit card information, it's just a one-page form that we give them, and they fill their details out, or you can email it to them. They email it back to you. You just file that form, and then you can key it in. Now it's cheaper to key it in. When I mean key it in, I mean they're gonna give you like a online terminal. Okay, so you log into the online terminal, and then you key the transactions in yourself instead of swipe. Okay, because it's not like you Macy's or J.C. Penney's, right, where you have a customer come in and you swipe. So there really won't be no reason for you to necessarily have the actual terminal. Okay. Now the terminal, because you got to pay a monthly fee on the terminal plus the charge that they charge you per transaction. Okay. So and then buying for them to lease the terminal out to you, it can cost you. Fab, have you heard of Amazon is going into the cleaning business? Yes, I heard about Amazon going into the cleaning business. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful situation. They don't scare me at all. The only thing I know that they have going for them, they have way more money than me. But I heard they're going into the residential side and not necessarily the commercial side. So that really don't threaten me because most of my revenue come in on the commercial side and not I got residential clients, but I make most of my revenue on the commercial side. And I hear unless they change things, I heard they going into the residential side of things. So it's a beautiful thing. That just shows for Amazon to look at that market out of everything tech, cleaning, security companies, this and this and that. out of everything they choose, the cleaning business is where it's at. Especially if you can start it up independent and grow it from the ground up. It's a beautiful thing, a beautiful situation. Definitely, definitely. So, you guys have any more questions for me? Fluent one. Do you have lawyers to set up potential liability or insurance workers? No, you have insurance, right? And it's written up in that in your insurance. Everything that's supposed to happen, like for workman's comp is something totally that's a whole different type of situation, right? A whole different type. But you don't have to have your lawyer draw that up. You just have an insurance agent. You let them know what it is you're looking for. You talk, right? As long as the rates fit what it is you're trying to pay out. You know, whether you're getting a $500,000 policy, $100,000 policy, $1 million policy, $2 million policy, right? It kind of go up, but you let them know what it is you're looking for. Our residential cleaning company that's under LLC. I started a new cleaning service this summer under a different name that will service a crowd of clients. Would that be smart? Not if you're just starting out. I wouldn't suggest that you have two different companies because it's going to be a conflict in interest, right? You might and I did that and it didn't work. I actually did a video where I said I was going to go in competition with myself. I started a whole nother cleaning company and it didn't work because I gave more attention to my original company than I did the one that I started up. So I scrapped that. That was one deal that went bad for me. I just wanted to see, I got that mindset. I just wanted to see if I could go in competition with myself and kind of balance it out. And I stayed more with my original company and I wasn't building traction really with my other company because why would I do that when I can run everything under one umbrella? I actually did it, but I scrapped it. I got a video where I said I was going to do it. That's why you haven't heard me talk no more about it because that was a failing business idea for me. Okay. But I wouldn't suggest you do that. I would suggest you focus on one sector of our industry, and after you kind of master that, give yourself a set of numbers. Say, like for an example, I want to make $20,000 a month. Hypothetically, I'm not telling you that you have to, but you say give yourself, some type of quota, right? I need to make $20,000 a month, and then once I make that, then I feel like okay, that's enough for me to sustain my business, pay my bills, and still make a profit on. So now I'm going to invest some money out of that and then kind of market towards commercial or whatever the case is, right? It looked like I'm about to lose battery power, you guys. It says I have 25%, so I'm going to end it before it shut off. But that's what I would do, right? I would just go ahead, work one part of the business under one umbrella, right? Master that, generate a significant amount of revenue in that, and then branch out to something else. Hey, Fob, how much would you charge a daycare in multiple facilities? This is a nonprofit daycare. Should I charge by the hour or by the flat rate? Well, it kind of depends on how big the building is and how often you're making the cleaning. Okay, it depends on how big the business is and how often you're doing the cleaning. Okay, and the nature of the cleaning, what they need done. So I can't give you a specific answer just over live right now because there's a few factors, right? But if you did a walkthrough and you want to email me and discuss it with me and tell me, based on the information that you have, I can kind of give you a roundabout what I think you should charge based on the information that you have. But even with that, it'd still be kind of hard without me seeing it. If you got pictures of it or get some visual aids that I can see, maybe a video, you did a video of the walkthrough or something, kind of give me an idea, I probably could finagle it. But I can give you a kind of roundabout if I have more information on the deal. Okay. And book FabioHart@gmail.com. That's BOOKFABIOHART@gmail.com. Book FabioHart@gmail.com. Okay. Uh, she's calling back.
Get your money, man. Get your bread up. Gotta do for yourself. Now you fed up. Get your study on. All
Hello? Hello? Yeah. 1 second. I'm almost finished. I'm gonna just put you on hold. Don't hang up. 1 second. I gotta finish this. I'm at work. 1 second. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it goes. Um, You guys have any more quick questions before I throw the phone on a charger? Book FabioHart at gmail.com. BOOKFABIOHART at gmail.com. Book Fabio Hart. 5 nights per week. How? Please repeat email. BOOK, F like Frank, A like Apple, B like boy, IOHART at gmail.com. Book Fabio Hart at gmail.com. Book Fabio Hart at gmail.com. BOOKFABIO, B like boy, IOHART at gmail.com. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. Let me go ahead and take this phone call. It seems to be urgent, as you see. The only person that can ever stop you from starting up your own dreams and making it to the top is you. If you got any more further questions, feel free to email me. I'll get right back to them. If you leave your name and number in the email, I'll call you back. Otherwise, my assistant's going to email you back. It won't be me that email you back. It will be my assistant. You guys take care, and I love you, and wish you nothing but blessings and great success. Take care.